All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. June 3rd, we got a jam-packed MLB slate to get into today. We're coming off a 1-1 night yesterday, so not the best, but we look to jump back into it today. We're going to go through each and every game. I'll give you my lean or leans on the games, but as always, my final plays I'm ultimately going to be rolling with myself. Those will be updated in the pinned comment, and I update that throughout the day, so keep an eye on that. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and let's jump into the first game. It's probably going to be a little bit quicker than normal. Obviously, we don't have the usual setup. We are traveling right now, visiting a buddy. Shout out Kevin for his birthday. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. Apologies if we kind of blow through these games quicker than normal, but it is what it is. We make do with what we got. Let's go ahead here. We got the Red Sox taking on the Rays. Right now, Red Sox minus 115 favorites at home as they're coming off a win against Cincinnati, but prior to that, just really not playing good baseball. Only won 2 of their last 9 prior to that win. Tampa Bay also kind of in the slumps here. They've only won 1 of their last 3. They get beaten that series against the Cubs here. On the mound for the Red Sox today, we are looking at Garrett Whitlock here, 2-2 with a 5.14 ERA. Kelly on the mound for the Rays, 0-1 with a 4.91 ERA. I think a lot of the public's going to be on the Rays in today's game, and I know I leaned towards them yesterday, but I'm actually going to look at the Red Sox here in today's game. I really don't think Trevor Kelly's going to come to play, so I'm going to lean towards the Sox in this one on the money line. And then in terms of a total, 9 runs. So the Rays hit that in every single game, or hit the under here in every single game going up against the Cubs. The Red Sox took 2 of 3 in the over, so we kind of have against the Reds. So we're kind of looking at 2 teams that are trending in different directions. I am going to lean towards the over because, one, we know how good that Rays offense is, regardless of injuries or anything like that. I don't think Whitlock's going to really contain them all that much. And I think the best chance of the Red Sox winning this game is in a high-scoring game. So I'm going to lean towards the over there as well. Next game, we have the White Sox taking on the Tigers here. White Sox at home, minus 160 favorites. Dylan Cease on the mound, going up against Michael Lorenzen. I like the White Sox in this spot, coming off of a loss, obviously. So maybe they have a little bit of fire under their asses there, and they have their best pitcher on the mound. Though he has had some shaky starts as of late, he still is a very good pitcher, right? And I do like him. You guys know I've talked about him plenty on the channel. I like Cease today. I think he's going to deal against this Tigers offense. Again, White Sox, I know they said they're coming off a loss. That was actually a mistake. Coming off of a win against Detroit, coming off a losing series against the Angels. I think that they kind of come into this Detroit series now and blow them out each game. Shouldn't say blow up, but blow them out each game. And then in terms of a total 8.5 here, both these teams trending in that over direction with the obvious exception of yesterday, but 10 runs, 9 runs in these sort of both these teams right now. So I do think that this is going to be a little bit high scoring. I think the White Sox can probably score 5 runs. Give me 3 from the Tigers, and hopefully get a run here or there. I lean towards the over there as well. All right, the Nationals taking on the Phillies. Mackenzie Gore, who I've started to like on the mound for the Nationals, going up against Strahm for the Phillies. Gore has a 3.5 ERA with a 3-3 record. Strahm with a 3-3 record as well. He is with a 3.2 ERA. In terms of their last few starts here, Mackenzie Gore had a couple blow-up starts, but then had a really good start against the Royals, so there's the caveat there, but 7 innings pitched, a .57 whip, 11 Ks, and only 1 earned run, and Strahm's almost going in the opposite direction. A few starts ago, yes, he had a good start, but his last couple starts here, not pitching deep into games, which you don't really expect from him anyways, obviously, right, but letting up like a run or more per inning with a very high whip. So I'm going to look at the Nationals in this one. They are even odds right now, so you're having an underdog at home. I like the spot for them here. I think that obviously the Phillies are a better team, I could say that. But Washington also beating them yesterday in kind of a hard-fought back-and-forth game. I do like the spot for the Nationals today. All right, moving on, we have the Mariners taking on the Texas Rangers in this one. Seattle, in terms of where they lie in favorites and Seattle plus 125. They are underdogs on their own here. The Rangers, it makes sense. We don't know who's on the mound, by the way, for the Mariners just yet, but you do have Andrew Heaney on the mound for the Rangers. I don't love him all that much, but I think this Rangers team is a better team overall. So I'm going to trust that the Mariners aren't going to trot out any of their studs, obviously, just given the fact that they've pitched recently. So we shall see who the actual starter is, but nonetheless, I do think Texas wins this one. I leaned the over yesterday. We didn't make it a final play, but definitely got burned by it. It was actually a 2-0 win for Texas, so I'm actually going to kind of look at the under again, under here, kind of countering what I actually initially thought. This Texas team, though they have that offense, 2 straight games now, they've scored 2 runs. And then even prior to that, they're scoring 2-3 runs. They did have that big game against Detroit when they won 10-6, but they haven't been scoring runs like they used to, and Seattle has had a very, very tough time scoring runs as of late, regardless of who is pitching against them. So I'm going to lean towards the under there. I probably actually like that even more than I do the game itself in terms of leaning towards the Rangers. All right, Pirates taking on the Cardinals in this one. Luis Ortiz on the mound for the Pirates, and Montgomery on the mound for the Cardinals here. Pittsburgh coming off that 7-5 win, and I like them again today as underdogs yet again, plus 122 at home again today. They were underdogs heading into yesterday. I think they finished probably closing odds around plus 129, and I like that spot for them. I think that this Cardinals team is just a little too inconsistent right now, and you're looking at a Pittsburgh team that, yes, the competition hasn't been there almost all season long, right, when they're getting these big wins, but they still won 3 straight games, and they're winning different ways. 2-1 against San Francisco, then 9-4 against San Francisco, against Alex Wood starting, and then we had a 7-5 win yesterday. So yes, I think the St. Louis team has a lot of backing, and a lot of people think that they're better than they are. So I think that I'm going to look at this Pirates team and say, okay, give me some plus money odds. Again, I don't hate them on the run line, even like I said yesterday, but they end up winning that game outright. And then in terms of a total 9 runs, we've seen this Pittsburgh team have struggle to score, and then we've seen them score a bunch of runs, right? So I don't really know where to peg this team overall. Do I think the Cardinals are going to go out there and score a bunch of runs? No. So I slightly lean towards the under, but like I said, it's all going to come down to Pittsburgh because they'll have big games and then they'll have some small games there. So kind of confused on that front, to be honest, but I do lean towards the under. All right, Rockies taking on the Royals. Like I've told you guys before, this series really doesn't interest me all that much. Lynch on the mound for the Royals, and the Rockies are starting Gomber today. Colorado, big-time underdogs in this one, so I'm going to lean towards them. You probably have heard my rationale and reasoning in previous videos, but yeah, just kind of looking at a team that is underdogs against Kansas City, I think that there is some value in that. Obviously, it's not all, it hasn't been working out actually, but nonetheless, I do still think that that is sort of our allegiance and where we're going to lean towards in this game without putting too much time into it. This is not one of my deep dive games, especially on a time crunch today, you know what I mean? All right, we got the Astros taking on the Angels. I do like this spot here. We have the Astros starting Christian Javier, 6-1 with a 2.97 ERA. Patrick Sandoval on the mound for the Angels, 3.42 ERA with a 3-4 record in this one. In terms of the last few games here, the Astros, you know, obviously we've backed them in a couple wins here overall, but they are still going up and down in terms of win, loss, win, loss, win. So, you know, it's good to see that they're playing this Angels team well. They have been favorites in every single game, and they are again today. They won 5-2, 6-2, and now, again, heavy favorites today. I'm going to lean towards the Astros yet again, but they have been inconsistent. So beware. I just think that all the public seems to think that this Angels team is way better than they are, and they're starting to kind of show where they stand, only winning, you know, 2 of their last 8 games or so. So I think that this is an Astros spot. Vegas agrees. I don't like Houston on the run line all that much. They just did 2 games in a row against this Angels team. Like, what are the odds they do it again? Kind of sketches me out there. But in terms of a total 8.5 runs, we haven't really seen the lids come off in this game so far. Houston scored 5 runs and 6 runs. We'll take that. But the Angels, even though I just crapped on them for not being as good as people think, they're not a 2-run baseball team, you know what I mean, per game. So I do think that they're probably going to score, you know, 4 or 5 runs in this game. Maybe we see sort of like a 7-6, you know, 6-5 win for the Astros today. All right, next up, we got the Reds taking on the Brewers here. This Reds team, I don't even know what to make of them, to be completely honest. They do shock me all the time, I can admit it, but now they've dropped a couple straight games. So obviously they win 2 of 3 against the Red Sox here, but they lose that last game against the Red Sox. And then they lose yesterday to Milwaukee. But prior to that, they had won 5 straight games. They had won 6 of their last 7 prior to that. So is this Reds team better than we think, especially with the new kid there? I forget his name. You know, batting really well, batting like 400 in the last 2 weeks, something like that. I don't think so. I think that you have minus 110 odds here for the Brewers, and you can really capitalize on that. So though the Reds are red hot, no pun intended, but pun fully intended, I do still think that you're getting good odds on the Brewers side of things here. Colin Ray on the mound for them. You know, he hasn't had the greatest of years, 2-3 with a 4.89 ERA, but I'll take that over a Graham Ashcraft, who's kind of fallen off a little bit. He started the year pitching fairly well, but in his last few starts here, just not really doing what his team needs him to do, I guess, in a sense. You know, letting up a decent amount of runs. So, you know, if we flash back his last 3, 5 innings pitched, 7 earned runs. And then the next game, 5 innings pitched, 7 earned runs. And then he plays the Cubs, 5 innings pitched, 3 earned runs with a 1.6 whip. He just hasn't really had it put together, so I'm going to lean away from him, and we're going to take a peek at the Brewers in this game. The total is 10.5. Now, if we see anything out of this offense from the Reds, I do still think the Brewers win this game. So now you're talking a double-digit, easy type game. But I kind of like the under. Like, if we see something out of the Reds, I do think this one's going to be over before we know it. You know what I mean? Because I think that this Brewers team is going to probably put up a 5 spot or so on them again at the very least. So it's kind of tough to say you want to take the under because, like I said, one of these teams could just end this because I'm only banking on the Brewers really scoring in this one, right? So if we're looking at that saying, okay, well, if the Brewers only score and the Reds don't, then we like the under. But the minute the Reds go and put up, if the Reds are going to score, they'll do what they did against Boston here. 9 runs, 5 runs. Prior to that, they scored 9, 8 in the series against the Cubs. And then prior to that, I think in St. Louis, they scored double digits in at least 1 or 2 of those games, if my memory serves me correct. So if the Reds get going, this would be an easy over, but I'm still going to lean towards the under because I'm crazy. Moving on, we got the Marlins taking on the Athletics here. Athletics, obviously not having the best of seasons, as we all know. It's kind of tough to look at these games just saying, okay, you know what? The odds are just crazy. Miami yesterday, minus 210. They win 4-0. I expect something similar today. So only in any sort of a parlay piece or anything like that would I throw the Marlins in. Yuri Pez on the mound for them today, 2-1 with a 2.84 ERA. They are minus 194 in most sportsbooks here, so obviously a little bit crazy there if you are going to be taking that straight. Minus 210 or something like that over in FanDuel, which usually has really good odds. So I'm sticking away from this one. Only the Marlins would be like a parlay piece. In terms of a total 8 here, I think this one sticks under because I don't think the A's come to play for themselves yet. Again, we've seen that plenty. Have they killed overs? Yes, they've done that. Have they killed unders, I should say? Yes, they've done that plenty this season, but I don't think that this is a good spot for them. All right, Mets taking on the Blue Jays here. Mets underdogs in this one at home. Tyler McGill on the mound, 5-3 with a 4.67 ERA. Jose Barrios on the mound for the Blue Jays, 5-4 with a 3.86 ERA. Mets let us down yesterday. I will say we like that spot for them. They could not get it done, so kind of tough to see that there. They're taking that was 4-0 in yesterday's game. I think this one probably goes the same. I only wanted to back Justin Verlander yesterday. The rest of the Mets staff, other than Scherzer, I don't think is really does it for me. So the fact that we're looking at minus 115 on the Tampa Bay side of things, I will take that. I don't mind that whatsoever. So I'm going to lean in that direction. In terms of a total, right now we're looking at an 8.5 total. I think that this one is a game that can go over. I think based on what we've seen from the Mets and even the Blue Jays as of late, I think a lot of the public will be on the under. So I'm kind of fading the under in this one. I don't think either of these pitchers are all that great. Yes, Barrios is good, but I'm saying great here. He's not. So I'm going to lean towards the over just ever so slightly, 8.5. I think you have some decent value at that line. All right, game 2 of the Red Sox and Rays here. We don't know who's on the mound for the Red Sox yet. Tampa Bay is starting, I believe, who they're supposed to start yesterday, Glass now. I'm going to lean towards the Braves in game 2 here. But like I said, guys, whenever I look at doubleheaders, I really only kind of look at game 1 because who knows what factors could be at play, who sits game 2, if they're tired, that type of thing. So I lean Rays in game 2 because I don't think the Red Sox take 2 of 2. But nonetheless, game 1 is really where I'm leaning and looking at altogether. All right, the Twins taking on the Guardians. Twins getting the close win for us yesterday. We will take that. That was obviously a nice little hit for us. They won 1-0 with Bailey Ober on the mound. I think he pitched 7 innings too, which is good for him. Sonny Gray on the mound for them today, 4-0 with a 1.94 ERA. Now the odds are kind of, I don't want to say shot, but they're not as good, as we would like to see here, as they're minus 130-ish here at home. I wish that they were kind of more even. Now, we pulled the trigger on them yesterday, so I shouldn't be all that bothered by it. But nonetheless, I do kind of like the Twins again. I'll pay the 130 juice. I think you can get it over on Caesars. Actually, right now, too, if you have access to that book at minus 125, which actually is some decent value compared to the minus 135s out there right now. And then in terms of a total, I don't think I can look at yesterday's game and say, okay, you know what? It's going to go any differently. I think that, 1-0 is an extreme, but I still think that this is an under spot here. 2 decent pitchers on the mound. Already talked about Sonny Gray having a great year. Logan Allen on the mound for the Guardians. He's 2-2, the low ERA at 2.7. So I also like the under in this one as well. Keep an eye on the pinned comment. Both those plays have a strong chance of being final plays here. All right, next game up, we have the Yankees taking on the Dodgers. Like I told you guys, I think this is going to be one of the more entertaining series here. The Yankees, I lean that way. We didn't make it a final play, but they get stomped 8-0 yesterday. Severino pitched there only 4 innings. I believe only 4 innings. Clayton Kershaw, 7 innings, pitched a decent ball game here. But on the mound for the Yankees today, making it a little bit more interesting, is Garrett Cole. And he's going up against Michael Grove here. If you're asking me who I would take there, no duh, Garrett Cole. So I am going to back the Yankees in this one. Now, does it scare me that, if any team is probably going to be able to get to Garrett Cole, I shouldn't say if any, but a team is going to get to Garrett Cole, it will be the Dodgers with all the firepower they have there, even with or with some guys without some guys in the lineups. But nonetheless, I kind of like where this game is slated at. I think the fact that the Yankees are only minus 115, it's kind of an opportunity. Yes, they're going up against one of the best teams in the league, and we all know that. But when you can get Garrett Cole on the mound at minus 115, I think that there's some serious value there because he can literally go out there and pitch 8 innings of shutout baseball against no matter what, who walks up to the plate. So kind of hoping that's the case here today. But again, this is going to be a good series. I like this. If the Dodgers are pitching one of their better guys, I guess I could say, I might actually lean towards them or at least be a little bit more indifferent about this. But I like the pitching discrepancy here. I'm going to lean towards the Yankees. And then the total sitting at 9 runs right now. I think this one actually does go up and over, but because of the Yankees, Garrett Cole can go out there. I don't know, I said scoreless, but Garrett Cole can pitch, 2 earned runs through 7 innings. Bullpen comes in, lets up another run. That's only 3 runs for the Dodgers, and the Yankees can go out there and stomp like they have offensively. Score 8, 9 runs. So hoping that is the case here. It's going to help us on both sides, both the Yankees and the over side. Giants taking on the Orioles here. I told you this Orioles team is a little bit better than you might think, at least offensively. Now, they didn't score a bunch of runs yesterday, but they were underdogs. We leaned in that direction, right? And I wish I made it a final play because they win that game 3-2 here. On the mound today for the Giants, as they are favored quite heavily again. They have Alex Cobb on the mound, 4-2, they 3.05 ERA. Bradish on the mound for the Orioles. And like I said, the Giants are favored, and it does make sense. I get it, but I just don't totally trust this Giants team to be these favorites. I think the fact that you can get Orioles at plus money, I'm going to kind of pull the trigger on that almost every day of the week, especially when they're playing a team like the Giants. So we're leaning in that direction again today. I didn't like what I saw yesterday offensively from either team, right? But, now we have a total way down there at 8 runs. I do think that this is going to be an over game, but I'll be honest, kind of scares me given the fact that we just didn't see them click yesterday. All right, Diamondbacks taking on the Braves here. Diamondbacks 35-23 on the season, really having a decent, a quiet, good record season. The Braves 33-24. Spencer Strider is on the mound for the Braves, and he is an absolute animal. That's why they're favored so heavily right now, minus 197 on average across sports books. So it makes a lot of sense here. But coming off of the loss yesterday, but again, Spencer Strider on the mound, I think just makes things a little bit different. And they almost won that game yesterday. They ended up losing 3-2. So I'm going to lean towards the Braves, but I think it's only going to be in some sort of a parlay piece or anything like that. I don't hate them on the run line, but I don't think the value is there on the run line, if that makes sense. Minus 120 to win by 2 runs. I kind of stay away from those situations. In terms of a total, though, 8.5 here. Yesterday was a 3-2 game. We obviously didn't see the offenses click on either side, and the bats were not hot. Now we have an even better pitcher on the mound for the Braves here. So I'm going to lean towards the under as well. Ryan Nelson, serviceable as well. I think that he can keep this Braves offense down as well, so I lean in that direction. All right, Padres taking on the Cubs here for our last game of the slate. And yes, maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I shouldn't keep doing it, but you're going to give me the Cubs who won yesterday, a close game 2-1. Drew Smyly, I like him on the mound. You're going to give me Cubs again at plus 150 odds. Sign me up. I don't know why I have this love affair with the Cubs and I just have to keep betting them, but they've actually started to help us out as of late. So they helped us in the beginning of the year. That's when we developed the sort of I'm always taking the Cubs, and then they started to lose, and I was like, okay, well, now I got to, sell my house and I'm losing the electricity bill and all that. But now they're coming back. They've won 3 of their last 4 games, winning yesterday, and it's not the easiest competition. They took 2-3 against Tampa Bay. Now, Tampa Bay is kind of in the you-know-what right now, but nonetheless, I lean Cubs again just from that value. I also don't hate plus 1.5 from minus 135 odds. If you want a little bit of a safety net, they've covered that in 4 straight games when they are underdogs. And then in terms of a total, they've just not been putting up runs, but teams they've been playing against haven't been putting up runs either. So, let the cook, or opposite of that, because no one's cooking offensively here. So I'm going to lean towards the Cubs and the under. And that is going to wrap it up for our video today, guys. Make sure to check out the NBA Finals video. That'll be up shortly after this one. And we'll catch you guys in the next one, all right? Peace out.